Hello, this is Veronica, and welcome to the Learning Lab episode number 73, More Storage Ideas, this time for your distress stains, inks, mists, sprays, and for some of those cool stamped images that you have. Come on in and let's get started. Now, on several previous episodes of the Learning Lab, I've talked about the really useful box, and because it's really useful. And in here is where I store my Radiant Rain, just a couple of brushes, but they fit in there with no problem at all. The dauber ones and the containers of paint. So I think I have 3 containers of Radiant Rain, and because I use them so sparingly, I'll probably keep them in these containers, but just in kind of a stored out of the way space. Now, when it came to my distress stains and my daubers, I upcycled or recycled this little container. My son takes his lunch to school every day, and I want him to have some, healthy things in there, but he won't eat apples if they are anyway brown. So although this cost a little more, I went ahead and bought the pre-packaged apples, and this is the container in which they came. Beauty of it is, it holds my distress stains, and I have a lot of them, so they completely filled the container, but it holds all of my distress stains. The top goes down and it fits nicely on the shelf. Now, prior to that, I was keeping the majority of my daubers in one of my really useful boxes, but I also discovered they will fit on their sides into one of my little apple containers. And so instead of throwing these into the rubbish, I upcycled them, and they were holding my distress stains. Well, as luck would have it, Joann's was having a sale on all of their everyday plastic storage, and I went to a new location that I said I wasn't going to go to because it was so out of my way, but now that I've moved, it's not as much out of my way. So here is how I am now storing my distress stains and my daubers. It's this little container, and there is another one that will stack on top. Fits beautifully. I do have some more sets of the Tim Host Distress Stains, since he's come out with some more that I can finish filling this up. I only picked up 3 of these because I was like, is it going to work in my space? How useful will it be for me? And now that I like them, I'll probably go back and get some more. So in addition to that, I am also storing my shimmer sprays in here. The downside is they are tall. So this would have to be your bin that would stack on top of your other bin. And I'll show you what that looks like. So when I take this one and put it up here, it stacks neatly on top. But the beauty of this also is that these shelves, they will stack one atop each other on these shelves, and you can actually get 2 of them side by side. Talk about maximizing your space. This does it. And then I just want to share with you that they do indeed stack atop each other and side by side underneath. And since I do have quite a few of these containers, I dedicated another one of them to my distress ink daubers and the little foam pads that you can use. Keeps them nicely contained, and these containers are pretty sturdy. Now, in the last video, I shared how I store my acrylic stamps, but I also wanted to show this to you. I'd forgotten all about this binder. Remember I said I had another box that had things in it? Well, this was in there. And so what's in here, and I'll just slide this little piece of paper behind it so you can see, are some of my Fiskars and Sizzix sets that come on big pieces of paper. I also put some of my rubber ones in here from Ink Boutique, and I can see instantly what they are, pull them out and use them. So that's a lot of what's in here. Now, as I go further to the back, I do have some rubber ones that I purchased. They were Hero Arts from a seller on eBay, and these did not come indexed at all. So I used some stays on, and I stamped the image and just affixed the rubber piece behind them. And that's just pretty much how I keep those. And this one, I can tell, is out in one of my in progress things. But if you look right up here, they are on a transparency sheet. I'll just pull out the whole thing. I stamped it on the front with the StazOn, and then I just took the image and stuck it to the back. The image itself does not have the picture on. It's only on my sheet. But that helps me to know what it is, and I like that. So this binder is filled with those. Okay, keeping in mind that I am the ultimate container girl, this next storage solution actually addresses a dilemma posed by Sari of the North Suit Girl, and I'll put a link to her channel down also. Her situation was she stamps out a lot of her images to be used, as I do when we do our clear acrylic stamp image swap, and I will just go through and stamp out a bunch of images to be used later. At the time I'm doing it, I don't know how I'm going to use them. I just go ahead and take advantage of the stamps while they're in my possession. And presently I've been storing them in one of these iris boxes, and it's the card box, and it works okay, except I'm stuffed and it's full. So I'm gonna have to find some new way to continue to have a home for them. And when I saw Sari's video, I thought about, I do have something else that I can press into service that's going to be a bit more organized than this. And plus, the downside with this is these little pieces don't stay, and plus the downside is these little pieces don't stay hooked into place. They come out of the little slot on me. It may not do it on you, but for me it does. So, let me show you another idea I have. Now this little box is the photo box, and it's also an iris box. Well, I'm trying to use up my photos. Not doing very good because I haven't scrapped anything. But on my QVC Yahoo Scrappers group, one of the ladies a couple of years ago when we did a swap had some items stored in this little container. And of course I said, what is it? Where'd you get it from? She told me, and I ran right out and got some. Well, thinking about Sari's dilemma, I went and pulled it out to see if my images would fit inside this little keeper. Cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. No, they will not. You're going to have to probably cut your paper down to 8 and then do 4 by 5 1/2. And they're going to fit in there beautifully because photos are 4 by 6. So you're not going to have much wiggle room in there if you cut it larger. But if you cut it to this size, it will fit. And this way you can label it. Maybe this container will be all girls, or Edwin or Tilda, and this container will be all boys. This one, nature scenes. This one, birthday images that you have colored. So when it's time for you to ride the train or sit at the airport or do anything like that, instead of grabbing this little baggie, which might get crushed, you can grab a container that has all of your images in there. Whatever markers you use to color them in, whether it's Copics or watercolor pencils, whatever. I'd say put a little label on the back so you know what you use, and you can grab the whole thing. It's what I call purse friendly. Stuff it in there, you're on your way, and they are safe. Now, that's the iris box. If you don't want to have to cut down your cards to 4 by 5 1/2, think about using this photo storage system from Cropper Hopper. I think they're still producing these. And as you can see, I played around a bit, took some of my images we had from a food theme swap. All the pictures had to have food in them. And they're all 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and they fit. And here's that other cupcake one from the previous one that I trimmed a bit. They fit in there, wiggle room to spare, and a nice sturdy container. You can put a label on the top letting you know what's inside. So again, when you've got to ride the bus or the train to work, or take a trip or a car ride, go in and pick out the one you want. you know, happy birthday, flowers, maybe Christmas that you're working on, and do it with a removable label and you can keep swapping them out. But this is a nice storage idea for keeping those in. And Sari, this is one that you might want to give a try. Again, this is the Cropper Hopper photo system. They have the small box and they also have a larger box, and gives you plenty of opportunities for storing photos. But I think these might help you with your storage system on that. As always, thank you for joining me in the Learning Lab. And I want to say a big thank you for joining me on this scrap room journey. As promised, the next video will feature my finished and completed scrap room, and you'll get to see my really super cool, at least I think it is, punch storage idea. Please remember to check out my blog at inkollusions.blogspot.com. Until then.